summer of chess comes to an end as 20 international grandmasters compete in St. Louis. USChessChamps.com presents the 3rd annual Fall Chess Classic.
Hello, and welcome to the 2019 Fall Chess Classic. My name is Caleb Denby. I'm joined by the wonderful Grandmaster, Dennis Boros, and we're going to be covering the action today for the Fall Chess Classic. And it's shaping up to be quite an exciting tournament, isn't it, Dennis?
It looks astounding, and some heavy action is already underway.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we take a look at the players in this tournament? Here's the roster for Group A. In the first seed position is Hrant Melkumian from Armenia, the world number 100 player. Directly following him is Ray Robson with actually an identical FIDE rating. After that comes Alexander Ipatov, Daro Swirts, Alexander Lenderman, Vasif Durarbayli, Jordan von Forest, Var Akobian, Alexander Bortnyk, and Ilya Smirin. A star-studded field with almost every player, over 2,600.
Actually, Vasif won the 2018 one Classic.
Yeah, I believe he's the 2018 Summer Chess Classic
Yes.
champion, so he's coming back to St. Louis now, trying to add more seasons under his belts.
Yep.
And so we'll wish him luck with that. And now let's take a look at the B group players. Heading up the B group is Manuel Petrosyan, also from Armenia. Following him is Viktor Michalevsky, Yasser Quesada Perez, Denis Kadrik, Aram Hakobian, Alexander Fier, Jack Shtembuliak, Steven Zirk, Aman Hambleton, and Vedek Grigorian. A lot of St. Louis veterans in this field here, with Aman the chess bra coming back to St. Louis. Some former Grandmaster in Residences even, who have shared your position.
Yes, and
formerly.
in fact, Jack Shtembuliak, I remember seeing him across the board playing a playoff match.
Oh, yes.
For the Winter Classic, was it? No, it was
It was the Norm Congress.
the
I
Norm
believe,
Congress.
correct? Yeah.
Yes. So I still remember playing him, so it'd be exciting to commentate on his games.
Yes, and of course, Jack was actually victorious
Yes.
in that adventure.
In a thrilling match.
Well, why don't we take a look at the format for this tournament? As we see there, the players all in the tournament hall, hard at work. There are two 10-player round robins, one in the A group, one in the B group, and the time control for this event is 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, and then they get 30 minutes added on for the remainder of game after move 40. They also include a 30-second increment from move 1. And interesting, in this tournament, much like the Sinkfield Cup, there are some draw rules in effect. So players are not allowed to offer each other a draw until Black makes his 30th move. So no draws except by repetition before move 30. As always, you're welcome to join us on social media here. Follow along with the games on USChessChamps.com. Get involved on Twitter with the hashtag FallChessClassic. And we are keeping an eye on the YouTube chat. If you have any questions for us, questions for the players, we're happy to answer some of those. With that in mind, why don't we just take a look at the pairings for Group A in round 1. Alexander Bortnyk was paired against Ray Robson, and that game has actually already ended in a draw.
Yeah, it was kind of a tedious game.
Yeah.
It was a C3 Sicilian, so you shouldn't be surprised if it ends in a draw quickly and nothing happens.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we're going to have Ray come by and talk more about the game and his expectations for this event.
It'll be interesting to hear his thoughts both on this game and what he expects to achieve.
Exactly.
Up next was Alex Ipatov against Hrant Melkumian, Alexander Lenderman paired against Var Akobian, St. Louis native, Jordan von Forest is paired against Daro Swirts, and Vasif Durarbayli is paired against Ilya Smirin in our key matchup of the day. These two players squaring off directly in round 1. So let's take a look at that game, Dennis, and see what's going on.
So this shapes up to be a great game, as Smirin, who's famous for being a great fighter, and he was 2,700 in his heyday.
Yeah.
So in all rights, a legend, and all-around Israeli Olympian. He always plays for the Israeli team, and I think they achieved bronze, or they did get a medal with a team consisting of Galfon and Smirin.
Wow.
So No wonder he went c5 here. He's already looking for some action, hoping for a Benoni. But Vasif has other plans and goes for the knight f3 line. This was actually championed by Carlsen's longtime second, Nilsson, Peter Heine Nilsson.
Interesting.
He loved playing these type of structures where you actually get a reversed Grunfeld positions. So d5, you can't really take right now because queen takes and the rook will be under attack. So you're forced to play bishop g2, e5, but now black gets the center, but white will get some counterplay. Note that you can't take on e5 because there's this nasty little check.
The classic fork.
The classic fork we're all dreaming of, but never happens in our games, sadly. So castles, knight c6, e3, and this has been very popular among the Armenians.
Yeah.
Aronian, also Carlsen, although he's Norwegian. So bishop e7 happened, e takes d4, e takes d4, and the old main line is rook e1, castle, and bishop f4. But here, Durarbayli came up with a very enterprising move b4.
Wow.
Which is a novelty, or at least I think there was maximum 2 or 3 games played recently. And the point is that black is just a half a move away from castling. But if you would castle here, I would go b5, and I win this pawn on d4. And who wouldn't want to be up a pawn for free?
Yeah, playing very, very immediately with white.
Yes.
Rather than taking it a bit more slowly and, I don't know, just challenging this pawn
Yes.
with something like b3 or bishop b2.
Yes.
But
So
trying to
you
remove the
could
defender.
play b3 and bishop b2, but usually that's kind of slow. Black would have time to play bishop c5 and sometimes even d3 because this f2 pawn surprisingly can become really weak.
Right.
So Smirin, as we know, is a big fighter, so he didn't shy away from a challenge and he took the pawn.
Yeah.
But then came the shocking move, knight takes d4.
I'm shocked.
You're shocked? You should be.
So what's the idea after knight takes?
So if knight takes, I have queen a4 check.
Interesting.
So knight takes, queen a4 check. You should try to defend this bishop. Knight c6 takes. You part with that bishop, but now you will stop this king from castling. And that's stuck there forever.
It's rather uncomfortable.
Yes, it's very uncomfortable playing this. And especially in the near future, bishop a3 is coming. So this is kind of nasty for
Yeah,
black.
this is not what I would want out of the opening.
Yes. So instead, Smirin decided to castle, rather sacrificing a pawn than suffering in a position where he has to defend. That's typical.
Seems a bit more responsible.
Yes,
yeah.
it's a responsible way of playing, but it's risky. Something that's very close to Smirin's style. But Vasif said, okay, I'll take your pawn. B takes, bishop a3. Actually, he decides to exchange off this active piece first, saying that this pawn will never run away.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's not as though black can try to defend it with something like bishop d7 or bishop b7 because then that white squared bishop is just going to be passive.
Yeah, so for example, what Caleb is saying, I guess this is what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you were to do something like
really
that.
passive.
Just like rook d6 adds more
rook
pressure to the
d6,
pawn,
yeah.
and there's nothing black can really do to
rook
keep
d6,
everything together.
I'm threatening to go rook a d1, and probably in the long term you should get crushed.
Right.
At this level, so at this full chess classic, A group level, you're gonna get crushed in like 15 moves.
Yeah,
in this
definitely.
position.
This is not
Because in the future, this pawn's just gonna be captured as knight c2, knight d4, or knight b4 will come. And this will be just a mayhem. So rook b8 was played. So black decides to make a useful move, defending that bishop on b4, and also trying to win some time. Because as long as this knight on b1 is stuck, it's very difficult to prove the advantage.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. But at the same time, how do you get it developed? I guess you have to take this bishop and just develop black's rook.
Well, yes, but you can wait with that.
Right.
Actually, that's what Vasif did. Took on c6, bishop h3, and after he got that extra pawn, decided, okay, now I'm up a pawn, so I'm willing to develop your rook to b4.
Fair enough.
So knight d2, and let's be honest here, black does have some compensation.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It's tough for me to see if white's really going to manage to keep this c pawn at the moment. It's definitely going to come under fire.
So definitely this king is kind of uncomfortably placed.
Yeah,
So
that as well.
If you're familiar with the Marshall, and I'm sure you are,
Yes.
so this is kind of a Marshall type of endgame where white's weak king is often in the way of getting the advantage. So Durarbayli is facing the same problem of trying to convert an advantage when your king is in constant danger.
Yeah.
Not that you should get mated, but if you lose this lonely pawn on c4, you just lose the advantage.
Slightly worse, yeah.
Yes, you're slightly worse already. All right, so h5 was played with the same idea, kind of putting some pressure on the king. Rook a b1, exchanges are always good if you're up a pawn. Rook b8, but the reason is, I guess, why he didn't exchange, because with rook b3, he can prepare this rook maneuver and exchange even more rooks.
Yeah, and the closer white gets to a minor piece ending is the better for him.
Yes.
The major pieces are very good at attacking isolated pawns, like the c pawn. And minor pieces, on the other hand, kind of struggle to prevent them from pushing forward.
Yeah. So rook b6, and now we're waiting. Let me double check if moves were played. Yes. So rook b6 was played, attacking this bishop. And yeah, objectively, I think white is much better here.
Much better.
But Smirin has good counterplay.
Right.
So bishop f3 was played. Interesting. Would you consider going bishop g2, Caleb?
Bishop g2. I'm not so sure that I would. I think that black's bishop is certainly hurting my king, but I think my bishop is going to be very useful in controlling the c6 square. So if I can play a move like c5, then I really want my bishop on the board to control c6.
Yeah, I agree. Like, exchanging is good, but queening is better.
Yes.
So that's why Durarbayli played bishop f3 and decided, okay, I could exchange stuff, but who knows if I'm going to win that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So bishop f3 was played, rook a4 and c5. And at the moment,
the bishop, you really see the usefulness now.
Yes,
A
now
move
you
like
can
rook
see
c6 is impossible.
that this rook is working full time. And actually, in the future, I'm not sure that we're going to care about that pawn anymore.
Right.
If we can start promoting that. And we're not that far off. It's just 3 squares away from promotion.
I can count to 3. Yeah, I'm ready to do it.
So actually, let's see what if rook e6 is played. Probably c6. And if takes, then c7.
So we actually caught up to the current position then, correct?
Yes, we made some moves.
So
This
where
is
the
also
yeah.
analysis.
Where are the
So
players at now?
The player's at c5.
Okay.
And Smirin is thinking, so if the time is correct, Smirin has 20 minutes and Durarbayli has 18.
Yeah, not a lot of time to figure out an endgame as complex as this.
Yeah.
Definitely black very much on the back foot here.
Yes.
Wasn't able to prove that compensation against that white c-pawn,
Yeah.
and now I think he's in quite a bit of serious danger.
Yeah, this looks like big trouble for black, even though I think there's some hopes of survival here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But let's just take a look at the current position. How does black
Okay.
solve the immediate problems? To me, it looks as though c6 and c7 is coming almost by
Yes.
force. Perhaps he starts with rook e6, and after
Okay.
c6, rook e7. But
Rook e7.
I'm not
I
sure.
can go rook b7, I think.
yeah, that actually
And
looks
if
quite
my
bad.
pawn reaches the b7 square
Then
and
I'm
it's
in
protected by
trouble.
this bishop,
Yeah.
I think this is the end, my friend, the end.
Yeah, but you got to play with the white pieces there.
That's
So
true.
what does black do is my question.
Definitely, I would consider rook e8 instead.
Okay.
But again, c7 and rook b8 is coming.
Yeah,
So
this looks devastating.
this looks very sketchy. I think this looks very sketchy for black.
I very much do not like his position here.
So I think Smirin can still fight, but probably this is a big chance for Vasif Durarbayli to win.
Yeah, I definitely expect a full point from Vasif here. This is a very, very difficult position. Well,
So
why don't we let those players get back to it, and we can take a quick look at the pairings in Group B.
Sure.
See how they are doing. We have Avitik Gregorian playing against Steven Zirk, Yasser Quesada Perez playing against Dennis Kadrick, Jack Shtembuliak playing against Chesbra Aman Hambleton, Aram Hakobian against Viktor Michalevsky, and Manuel Petrosyan playing against Alexander Fier. And there we see the two players in the B group squaring off in round one. And they are also playing quite the interesting game.
Yes.
Definitely some
Yes.
chances going on here as well. Why don't we take a look at the
yeah,
position?
let's take a look. It's a very interesting game because Fier is known to be the most active player at some moment.
Right.
I think he played like 30 games, 30, not just 30 games, 30 tournaments in a year.
Wow.
That's a lot of
incredible.
games. And notably, he beat Wojtaszek in the World Cup, which is a huge result.
Absolutely.
But his opponent is famous in his own right. He's actually the current second of Levon Aronian. So he was helping out Levon at the Singfield Cup and the Chess 960 LX.
Wow. So definitely probably one of the most informed players then.
Yes.
I don't know a lot about being a second, but I imagine it really keeps you up to date on your openings on
Yes.
things of that nature because
Yeah.
you have to be so prepared in order to
Yes.
help those top players out.
So actually, I want to show a moment, go back a few moves. So this moment, the position is still very even. And it's opposite colored bishops. But this is the moment when it's good to have the 30 move rule.
Right.
Because by now we could say, oh, draw? How about a draw now?
Yeah.
And
But, you know, the players had to keep playing.
But they had to keep playing.
And some interesting things.
So white played g5. So what Manuel Petrosyan is trying to do is just to soften this king-size structure.
Makes sense to me.
So Fier waited, rook b7, takes. And actually, from personal experience, this can be very annoying for the defender to know that there's a 30-move rule, the position is objectively drawn,
Right.
but you can't offer the draw. So you don't want to get too ambitious,
Exactly.
but you don't want to get too passive. So rook a b7 was kind of like a waiting move. It's not really doing anything. And probably it was time to do something, probably f5, which looks kind of weird, but there's no real weaknesses left if f5 is played.
Yeah, no weaknesses. I might agree with that, but the king can also be a weakness.
The king
right?
can
So
become a weakness, but
I can imagine white
yeah.
playing something like rook e5 and then trying to get this other rook to e3
Yeah.
and trying to generate some pressure that
Yes.
way. But
So
I agree
yeah.
that it's tough to really break through there.
So it's probably, and white can try, but probably after e6, rook d5, it should be around even-ish.
Just setting up on the light
Yes,
squares.
like a white square blockade of sorts. But Fier played rook b7, kind of waiting. And g takes f6, e takes f6, rook f4. And here Fier, didn't realizing that something bad is about to come down, played rook d5. And I guess this is what I'm really talking about, is that you're trying to reach move 30, you're kind of certain that the position should be very dead even.
Right.
And you should be getting there. And then you make a passive move, then you make an aggressive move, and suddenly you're dead lost.
Wow.
And rook d5, and this was a huge mistake.
Because of the best move in the
Yes.
position.
a4.
Sure. Oh. Oh, very interesting.
Yes, so if you take, and that's what
Yeah,
happened.
this is just a tactical miss then, I guess.
Suddenly, there's a double attack here. And black is under huge pressure. You can't even move the bishop because the c6 pawn is falling. This pawn is just falling. And if that
Wow.
falls, then the whole position just collapses.
Exactly. The good news for black is he's not going down a pawn, but I guess the bad news is his king is going to be very, very weak after this f6 pawn disappears.
Yes. So bishop takes a4, bishop c3 happened, and now this is the double attack we've been talking about. Bishop d1 takes, and sadly enough, the king cannot ever go to g7 because of rook d6, rook d5, and I take the d1 bishop. Let me show it to you guys. Here it takes, and this fellow on d1 is going to get captured.
Disaster.
Yes, disaster would struck. King e8 had to be played, but then king e1, and this king e1 is actually the move that should be praised. A lot of times when you're winning, and I'm kind of sure that Petrosyan is already winning here, most of the times people forget about safety first.
Interesting.
Even though you're up like a few pawns and probably you're gonna win one more.
Yeah, I would have been very tempted to take g6 or
Yeah.
c6 or
Yeah.
just
Just
go.
Go and collect. But king e1 is a very nice move, getting rid of this bishop that was kind of harassing this e2 pawn.
Right.
So bishop b3 was played. Now he took on g6, rook c5, bishop d2, takes, rook b4, bishop g5, c5. And this king is already cut off.
Mm-hmm.
This pawn is extremely weak. And I'm not saying that Fier is like definitely gonna lose this.
Right.
But this is a connected pass pawn in an opposite colored endgame.
Yeah.
And that there's a high chance of losing here.
Yep. Black is technically only down one pawn,
Yeah.
but with these connected pass pawns kind of unopposed, and black's c pawn not really posing a threat, it feels a lot more like two pawns.
Yes.
You know, these pawns can work together to maneuver up the board, controlling those key light squares that the dark squared bishop cannot.
Yeah.
And so I would think that the endgame is just winning.
Yeah, I
But,
would agree. I tend to agree with you. And also, it's interesting to point out the time. Petrosyan has 34 minutes.
Yes.
And Fier has 1 hour, 17 minutes.
Yeah,
So
and this is
think-
something that.
I think this is, I might be onto something with that 30 move thing.
Right.
And I might even be curious what Petrosyan will say. Was there like any, okay, this is a draw kind of gestures
Yeah.
from the opponent?
There's some interesting psychology there. Where
Yes.
It's almost like you want to appear like, of course this is a draw. I don't
Yes.
even have to try. I'll just make any move and then
the
the
draw
game
will
ends.
just show up. And
But chess is not an easy game.
yes, and I mean, I would predict that is a possibility just by looking at Fier's clock. He must have been like shuffling really fast
Right.
and making quick moves saying that, okay, this is a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Missing this a4 move.
Yeah, and that's not a difficult tactic to
It's
well,
not an easy one.
It's not the easiest tactic, but if you're taking your time,
Yes.
if you're a player of this level,
Yes.
definitely that's something
Yes.
that you never miss.
I think he wasn't alarmed. He felt that his position is safe already.
Right. Yeah, definitely just needed to be a bit more on guard. Well, why don't we take a quick look at what these players are playing for? There is a substantial prize fund for both of these groups. In the A group, they're playing for a total of $22,000, with first place taking home a cool $6K. And over in the B group, they're playing for a total prize fund of $14,000. First place coming away with $4,000. Not a bad payday at all. There we see the tournament hall. And where do you want to head to next, Dennis? The world is your oyster.
We could possibly take a look at the chess bra. Let's take a look at the chess bra
Absolutely.
game.
I've got some insider information on this game. I had a
Okay.
chance to briefly talk to Aman last night, I actually know he's feeling a bit under the weather, so it'll be
Oh,
interesting
wow.
to see if that has impacted his game at all. And there we see the two players in that tournament hall.
So let's start from the beginning. So C4 was played. The big hype these days.
Yes, very interesting
English.
stuff. The English.
So Yasser would be happy, but I have to emphasize this is Yasser Seravan who would be happy because we have Yasser Yunieski Kezada playing.
Yeah.
Actually, not Yunieski, Yasser Kezada playing.
Right.
And that's interesting. I'm not used to having more than one Yassers.
Yeah, it's not the most
Playing in
common
the
name,
chess tournament, yes.
but we've got the other Grandmaster Yasser
Yes.
in our event.
So the other Grandmaster, our Yasser, would be thrilled to see one C4.
Of course.
So E5, Knight C3, Bishop B4. So the old main line is Knight F6, G3, and D5. And we actually have seen this Bishop C5 idea being played in the World Championship match between Carlsen and Caruana.
Fabi just trying to state that he can just play
Yes.
it like a Sicilian reversed,
Yes.
right? This is how white would play
Yes.
if the game had started E4, C5.
Yes. So this is a different type of game. This was handled in that World Championship match, but Hambleton came up with Bishop B4. This is a trickier line. It's not as popular, but it's gaining traction. Anand used to play this and had some fine results. Knight D5, Bishop C5, E3, Knight F6, B4. And this might look strange for the untrained eye, but this is a typical move of trying to gain some tempi so you can attack that E5 pawn.
Yeah, certainly less strange than B4 in that other position that we
Yes,
saw. This one's
yes.
a bit more typical.
Yes. So Bishop E7, takes, and Bishop B2. So if you would take this pawn, I would capture this central pawn, and I would claim that I have the bishop pair, a potential extra central pawn, and I will be happy.
Yeah, it's a reasonable enough claim.
So castles, Knight F3, D6. Now notice that Mr. Aman Hambleton is aiming to have a close position. He's not interested in opening up the position at all.
Right, because of that bishop pair advantage
Yes.
that white has.
So he's trying to build a wall so this bishop cannot blast through it.
Yeah, so that's why you didn't see, for example, a move like E4 from black.
Yes.
That would open that diagonal for that bishop, and while it gains some central space, it's definitely not worth it to activate the white pieces.
Yes. And D6 was played, D3, Bishop G4, Bishop E2, A5. And actually, I would love to praise this move, and I will. Because what is a knight without an outpost? Well,
it's a
it's
bad
just
knight.
a bad knight, yes. So what Aman is trying to achieve here is to create a nice little outpost on C5. And that actually happens, because Shtembuliak allows it. Actually, he could have gone A3, which I actually would prefer.
That would have been more natural, in my opinion.
Just keeping the tension. B5 was a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, you also see white
Inaccurate,
sometimes want to play the move C5 himself in these
Yes,
structures, right? To try
yes.
and break down that defense
Yes,
of E5.
yes.
And you're kind of giving away that option
Yes.
with this move B5.
Yeah. So I think A3 would have been better, just keeping the tension. Because after B5, it gives free play for black. H3 takes, E4. And now this is going to be an interesting struggle between bishops and knights.
I'm interested.
Who would you pick?
My instinct says actually I would prefer black here.
Mm-hmm.
Despite that bishop pair advantage, these knights are going to have some nice squares.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely the C5 square, and this light squared bishop isn't looking very impressive to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he intends to stay for the rest
Yeah,
of the game.
this bishop is probably just going to stare at the knight very soon. Yeah, the knight just jumps to E4. The other jumps to C5. And I agree with you that black has a comfortable position with those two knights.
Yeah, very natural play to follow.
Rook A8, knight DC5, bishop B1, F5. And actually it's funny, this position kind of reminds me of Dutch Leningrad structures. But it's like an improved Dutch, because Dutch Leningrad, because you didn't play G6, nor did you play c6. So you have no weaknesses.
Wow, yeah. So this is the current position then?
Yes.
So it's very interesting to note the clock situation here.
Yes.
Amon down to just a minute and a half. And
Yeah.
how many moves left to play until move 40?
20.
20
Exactly
moves.
20
He has a
moves.
minute and a half for 20 moves. And he does get that 30-second increment
Yeah.
on every turn. But definitely not where you want to be sitting when you're dealing with a head cold.
So what would be your prediction for this game?
For this game, honestly, I think it depends on the next few moves for White here. If White can make a few solid moves, improving moves, and not spend all of his time doing it, then I think he definitely is going to have an edge, just due to that clock situation.
Based on
And
the
also,
position.
these knights aren't unassailable. Eventually, I think we're going to see White play this move f3 to get rid of this knight on e4. And now you can't do it until the time is absolutely right, but that's always something that Black is going to have to worry about.
Yeah.
Because after f3, once this knight moves, you see that light-scored bishop on b1 come to life, attacking f5, and you also see this knight on c5 become a bit more loose. Threats of bishop takes c5 might even occur. So a lot of things for Black to worry about is what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
with just a minute and a half on the clock, it's tough to keep all of these things in mind.
Yes, but I think all those Chessbra fans don't get sad. Amon's a good blitz player.
Yes,
you know that.
of course.
And also, he can rebound. If White is not paying too much attention and the rook would fling over to e6 and g6, potentially the g2 pawn can become a target. So
Some serious threats might occur.
So there are some hidden counter chances for Hambleton. And I wouldn't be surprised if he would launch a counterattack, and the winning one at that.
Yeah, you can definitely see that happening as well.
And
so really, just these next few moves, I think, are going to be absolutely key.
Yes.
What might happen if White were to play f3 just immediately here?
f3, actually it's Black to move. So
No, it should be White to move, right?
oh yeah, okay, so new moves were played.
Okay. So we
So
saw
rook c8 was played,
rook c8.
preparing the c6. So just to answer your question, if f3 was played, then c6 and
Trapping
ta-ta
the
to the queen.
Disaster.
Disastrophe strikes, as the queen has nowhere to go.
So this is how White is or Black is finding some immediate play then.
Yes. By the way, I heard that we are waiting for Ray Robson to come down.
Okay, so hopefully we will get him in the studio soon.
And so this queen would be terribly trapped.
Yeah, not so good. Not so good for White.
So probably either the bishop has to move, or either the bishop has to move back or take on e4. Which one would you do if you have this choice?
Well, I'm a bit confused. Can you even take on e4? Doesn't c6 still trap the queen?
c6, interesting. So bishop e4, and that's what happened. So bishop takes e4, c6, b takes c6, I assume.
Is this a queen sacrifice after queen takes c6 and rook takes c6?
Yes, it is.
Wow, very interesting game.
Yes.
Well, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on this one. But for the moment, we do have Ray Robson here, ready to come into the studio. So I'll let you take it away with some more analysis while we get him switched out.
Cool. So probably in this position, White is not in danger of losing. But on the other hand, White has easy play and potentially could have some pressure on the g7 pawn. Is Hambleton in danger? I wouldn't say so. It's just interesting play for Shtembuliak, Jack Shtembuliak. And I think he has good chances of even putting some pressure. But right now, not yet. Not yet. So, so I think potentially this bishop wants to land on d5. And the hard part for Aman is to come up with a plan with 1 minute on the clock. And I feel that this pressure can be really uncomfortable in a real life game. Even if the computer would say that this is just fine for black, I'm not sure I would take black here. But I don't know. I have to reconsider. Yeah, so I feel that there's big compensation here for Shtembuliak, but is it more than a compensation? I'm not sure. But I have Ray Robson here who might have a different view on this position. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I only saw that position for a few seconds, but I like White's position. I mean, two bishops look really strong. The rook one rook maybe can go to the b file, other one, they could double on the b file, maybe also double on d file, or one on b, one on d. And I mean, there's no way for black to force off one of the bishops. The only way you could try to exchange it with the knight, let's say knight e6, but the bishop can just run away anywhere on the diagonal. So White's going to have one bishop on d5, probably the other one on d4 or somewhere else in the diagonal. They're very strong, and yeah, I think practically definitely White's better, and even objectively, I think White has some advantage.
So would you be scared if black would go, let's say, knight e6, f4, and rar, and trying to scare you?
Rar, rar.
Rar.
Yeah, that makes sense. Knight e6, let's just put the bishop on, okay, let's say bishop c3.
Okay,
and
f4.
f4, yeah, that makes sense. Good thing is the bishop on c6 is still guarding f3. So we may not have to take immediately. Maybe even like rook fe1 could be a move, because probably the e file is going to open.
Aren't you a little scared of this f2 left undefended?
I am a little scared, but
okay.
I mean,
I
didn't want to use the other rook to go to the e1. And if I take on f4, then your knight gets to a very active square.
So Ray's point here is, if I'm correct, that this rook would get stuck here on f1 if I would bring the other rook.
Yeah.
So you'd rather risk it and go e1. Yeah, and I mean, Hambleton has a minute, and it's not that easy to come up with some winner moves or very strong moves in this kind of position.
Yeah, I mean, knight e6, f4 is logical, but then you still have to come up with a good continuation, and even if White just maintains his position, again, it's like there's kind of no risk really. As long as f3 or something doesn't come, it's not really any real risk, and black has a weak d6 pawn, potentially weak a5 pawn as well. So there's yeah, it's just a lot harder to play with black, I think.
Yeah, in fact, Hambleton played queen c7, which I do think that he needed to go for some action, some aggressive play.
Maybe he's trying to use some tactics. So like with the queen on c7, there's ideas of moving the knight, obviously, and maybe knight d3. And a bishop d5, which looks logical. Then knight d3, and the knight comes to b4, hitting that bishop, and hitting a2, and also depending where the rook goes, could be hitting the rook as well. And as we said, White doesn't want to give up the two bishops. But let's say if rook c3, then knight b4, and the bishop can move away, but then the a2 pawn is hanging, which could be an issue. So possibly White, well, if I was White, I would be considering just moving the bishop to a different square and seeing if that made sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
It does make sense, but let's say bishop f3, or where did you want to move the bishop?
Right now?
Let's say instead of bishop d5, unless you like this position.
So bishop f3 was actually played.
Okay, and now let's say knight d3 anyway. And rook c3 is one move again. And now if knight b4, then it's not hitting the bishop, so probably knight b4, now you just have a3. Even here, you still have knight c6. You're still going to get one of the two bishops. And again, even if white plays bishop takes, queen takes, and puts a rook on b1, I still don't think white has any losing chances. But at least black got rid of the bishop pair.
So what do you think in general? When would you accept to have a rook and bishop against the queen? Is this the kind of position you would be okay to have the rook and bishop?
If I have a pawn, it helps. If I have more than one pawn, it helps even more. Yeah, this position, because the bishop is very stable on d4. And black has also played f5, which is a good aggressive move. But in this case, now it's opened the 7th rank.
It's also kind of a weakness there.
Yeah, so it's also harder to protect g7 actually, because you can never play f6 to block the bishop.
Yeah.
So if white doubles and puts a rook on b7, then you're going to have some issues with the g7 pawn. So yeah, here white basically has no pawn weaknesses on the king side, and black's queen doesn't have that much to do. It's not like it's wreaking havoc, taking all white's pawns. So I mean, this is a good example, I think, of where the rook and bishop are probably better than the queen.
They're kind of dominating the black queen, because the black queen doesn't really have a target apart from c4.
Probably black may just play something like h6 to give some space for his king, and then if rook, I don't know if it's possible, but let's just say if rook b3 in general, rook cb3, maybe just like rook f7, just guard the 7th rank, and then go on from there. And I mean, it still looks holding for black here.
Yeah. All right. So you drew your game.
I did.
You had a fascinating c3 Sicilian.
Fascinating?
Fascinating, yes. All right, let's take a look at that just quickly. I don't think it's a big tragedy, right? Because it seems... so you have a 30-move rule, right?
Yeah, I assume I think it's for both sections.
Yeah, it's for both sections, yeah. So let's go...
we could repeat.
Yes. So did you expect Bortnyk to play c3?
I don't think he expected me to play c5.
Oh, okay.
Because I used to play the Sicilian like every game, but recently I've been playing e5 every game and doing pretty well, so he probably expected that again. I wasn't sure if he's going to play e4 or d4. When he plays d4, he usually plays like with knight c3, bishop f4, and he's also playing e4. But he hasn't really played much, at least, I don't know, when I looked him up in the databases, like he hasn't played in like a year or something. So yeah, against c5, normally he is playing knight f3, but then after knight f3, d6, he was usually playing just bishop c4.
Yeah, this is kind of a rare line.
Yeah, and it's kind of just play.
Yeah, it's just a play.
So I was happy to just get a game and just play. But he played c3, which I saw he had played, but I didn't really look. I didn't really check because I figured it's not really the most dangerous thing. So yeah, I haven't played against c3, I don't think, for 2 years.
2 years.
Maybe I played against it in the World Team, 2017.
It's actually funny. So I was playing against you in the World Open, and I actually thought about playing the c3, and I said, nah, this is boring. I'm never going to do that.
Too boring for you.
Yes, it's too boring for me.
Well, I used to always play knight f6. I think I also have played d5 once or twice. I even looked at c3 recently with some sharper ideas, but I mean, I hadn't really looked at it before the game, so I just decided to stick with the more solid line.
Interesting. It's interesting. I would consider d5 more solid than knight f6 for some reason.
I mean, it could be solid here too, but I know knight f6 better because that's the move I grew up playing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, let me be honest here. So let's say if black considers playing bishop f5, this is certainly not solid play by black. But like the e6 line, as far as I know, is fairly solid.
Yeah, I played this one once, and I had looked up and I saw he had a few games here. But again, like I just decided to stick to knight f6.
Knight f6.
So he thought for a few minutes before c3, but then after knight f6, he was playing quickly again.
Mm-hmm. 5. So probably this was still his preparation. Takes.
Yeah, it's just normal theory. Bishop c4, bishop b5, and here I was trying to. Actually, after bishop c4, I was thinking because I know you can take on e5.
Yes.
d e5, and you move the knight somewhere, exchanging queens, and it's supposed to be fine. But again, I wasn't like
100%
yeah.
sure.
I mean, I think knight db4
Yes.
is the move. Queen d8, knight d8, and should just be fine for black. But again, knight b6 is kind of the old main line. That's the one I grew up knowing how to play. So again, I just stuck with that. Played bishop b5. Yeah, take. Yeah, and this line, which I don't think I've. I'm trying to remember if I ever had this position in an actual game. Maybe once.
It's very interesting. I mean, I've seen this position lots of times because of a famous Romanian grandmaster. I mean, famous, I know him, played him, and he's a famous c3 specialist. Like he has 90 or lots of games played in the c3 lines, and he always played this position with white. In fact, if I recall, rook d8 is the move that they usually play here, and e6 only then.
So rook d8, what does white play? Because I was thinking maybe white can just like castle and ignore the pawn.
Rook d8, castle. Yeah, for some reason, and then they play e6. I guess I know the point. Maybe that I force, if you move the queen, I can take, so you're forced to play bishop e3.
But I played e6 and he castled, so.
Okay, but then you can still transpose back with rook
so
d8.
I'm saying
yeah.
maybe rook d8 is a good move here, but I'm saying I can still play e6 first.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or maybe the idea was rook d8, a6. I don't know. But yeah, I think what I played was obviously most normal, just developing the bishop. But I knew that white has so I played bishop e7 instead of rook d8. So I know white's getting like queen g4 and stuff, but and maybe has some initiative.
Yeah, we have just the breaking news that Petrosyan did win his game against Fier, and we'll be very curious what he thought and what happened, because in that game, it was like hovering between equal. It was an opposite colored bishop endgame. I don't know if you saw the Petrosyan Fier game.
Not really, no.
And around move 28 to 33 was round equal, but
something happened before move 40?
No, around the move 30 move, Fier was just shuffling back and forth and suddenly made a mistake near 30. So instead of an equal opposite colored bishop endgame, he was just lost. You think psychology has to do with that you're waiting for the 30th move to arise so you can offer the draw?
Oh, so 30th move, he wants to offer a draw, I see.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be careful.
So if you don't mind, I can pull it up.
Sure, I don't mind.
So, yep, this game. So g5, so they were just shuffling, so Fier just played rook b7, g takes, e takes, rook f4, and now rook d5, kind of, I don't know, maybe, so this is move 31 already. So
But you think he's shuffling and just expecting a draw, because white can play this position forever.
That's
I mean,
true.
he should hold,
Yeah.
I guess, but he has the outside pass pawn, which is hard to push for now. But also, I mean, he's gonna hit f6 at some point, and he has e4 ideas. And
That's
if black
true.
plays f5, then he can put a rook on the g file again. He can play e4 at some moment. So I don't think he would be expecting to just agree a draw in a few moves.
I kind of thought that I really didn't see like what was the point of playing rook b7 and after takes rook d5. I mean, obviously he missed this a4 idea,
Okay, yeah.
but I feel that there's some impulsiveness on black's part, because if you're like just defending the position and you feel that you need to defend, you would just go back, I suppose.
Well, white's I guess it's already threatening a4 anyway, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That.
Well, I think he just didn't. Obviously, he didn't see it at all.
He just didn't see it. You think, and then a4, and after this, technically is over because I'm going to collect all the pawns in the game. But okay, let's go back to your game. So here, so e6 castle. So you didn't. Did you consider rook d8 though?
I considered it before, but not with the idea of playing e6, because I thought if I play e6, I'll just get the bishop to e7.
Ah, okay.
But I was thinking about trying to play g6.
G6.
And I can't play g6 immediately because of d5.
This reminds me of a Shankland Caruana game where he played g6 and almost lost.
Yeah, actually, I meant if I don't play e6, if
Oh,
I just
okay.
play g6,
G6, right?
then
Oh
there's
my
d5.
God. Yeah, d5, and that's nasty.
So I was thinking about rook d8, as we
rook
said,
d8.
rook d8 castles, and then g6.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it's a bit slow, like rook e1, bishop g7, bishop g5, and stuff is happening on e7.
Yeah, and cross pins everywhere. Oh, not that knight.
And I knew e6 was kind of like a main line. It can't be that bad, so I decided to just stick with that.
Yeah. So bishop e7 was played, queen g4, castle. And I think Bortnyk played an inaccurate move. Bishop takes c6 is the line.
That's the main line
Yes.
I checked after the game.
Yes.
But rook d1 is also a move. Yeah, bishop c6 and then bishop h6 coming is the
I guess
idea.
I assume b takes.
I mean, I would have thought, but I was thinking about b takes mostly. Yeah.
And
Bishop
here.
h6, bishop f6.
And white
d1,
has
yeah.
some play.
White does.
It's not
but
that like a big advantage, but
it just depends how effective the attack is, or at least if white can provoke some serious weaknesses. Because I have the d5 square available for my knight forever. Can't be challenged.
And meanwhile, Durarbayli just won his game against Smirin. So in fact, that c pawn did prevail. Okay, so.
So I have the d5 square, and let's say I play knight d5. Knight e4, queen e7. Just if we ever exchange those the knight for that bishop, I'm gonna have this knight. I mean, I should be able to hold most likely. I have a weak c pawn, but otherwise my position is very good. So
I mean, this d pawn's also weak, so it's kind of
Yeah.
balancing each other.
so it's not a huge
Not that
deal.
bad.
Rook d1. For some reason, I was kind of expecting rook d1, and then I played rook d8, which makes sense.
I guess rook fd8, so you have this bishop f8 idea.
Yeah, because white couldn't play bishop h6 immediately because of queen takes d4.
So
And that's
an
why white
important
takes
point,
the knight on c6.
because it takes and it defends at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so rook d1, rook d8, bishop h6 here. So it was interesting that he repeated, then he said no, and
Yeah,
decided to simplify.
And here, I was thinking about h4 was interesting. Actually, I checked already, and no one's ever played h4. They've had this position a few times, but yeah, h4 is interesting. It should still be okay for black, but obviously the idea is to take back with the h pawn. If you ever take, then the h file's open, the rook coming to d3, and h3 looks a little bit scary. And if black doesn't take, then
Can you go king h8 or something?
you could just kind of wait, I guess, but white will continue with like rook
With this
c1 maybe, or rook
c1,
d3, I don't know.
Oh, rook d3, okay.
So
Alright.
h4 was interesting.
So d5 happened. Yeah, but h4 is definitely interesting. So d5,
d5 wasn't bad.
but it was
Next
kind of
sequence-
liquidating.
Yeah, it is, but so this next sequence is kind of forced. We get to this endgame with, he has a bishop versus knight, and still, yeah, I played a6 to try to force off the bishop, because still pawns on both sides, and so his bishop is still better than my knight. So I played a6. He took, which is probably fine, but after take, he had to play rook d2. And I have weak pawns on the queen side, obviously a and c, and the idea of rook d2 is just to stop rook e2, and then he's just going to play a long game, just stop any counterplay, immediate counterplay by me, bring his king to the queen side, and just try to play. I mean, he actually has some advantage here. This
Yeah.
was the only real way to play. Once my
But-
rook got to e2,
Yeah.
I was.
But you still
really
have some
active.
good chances of holding this.
I have
like-
good chances, but this
Yeah.
was like
The
his
best.
only real chance.
And after that, it really was just liquidating to a draw. After you put your rook
Yeah, my rooks just get way too active, and
too active,
even if he's up a pawn,
yeah, it's just too
one
strong.
rook is going to be tied to like the f pawn, so he's going to lose his other pawns eventually.
All right. A short but very interesting game. What are your expectations for this tournament?
I mean, it's a tough tournament. I'd like to do better than I have done in these ones before. I haven't won any of them. But even if I don't win, like I'm trying to play a little bit more combative, maybe. At least, like in this game, I've been playing e5, as I said, for a lot recently. And so I played c5 already in the first round. So I'm showing that I'm at least prepared to just play open games if that's what my opponent also wants. And yeah, I'm just trying to do my best. I mean, I think I play Dariush tomorrow. And I'm white, but we always have really tough games.
I kind of expect a big battle right there.
Maybe, yeah. It'll be interesting because I've also played him many times when I've been white, so he basically knows everything that I've played.
Yeah,
so that's a little bit
as far as
tricky.
I know, you've played everything against him.
Yeah, I played c4
Literally.
against him a few times. We've played the e4 and
Yeah.
Roy Lopez a few times. Don't think he's played Sicilian against me yet.
But I think you'll have a fun time guessing your first move.
No, I'll also have a fun time guessing because last time
Okay.
one of the last times I played c4, I think, and he played f5.
Okay.
And then I played b3.
But in any case, good luck.
Thanks.
And hope to see you back next time as well.
I
with
hope so too.
a win.
Yeah.
All right. And after this, we're going for a short little break, and we'll be back.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chester, and I'm the development manager for the St. Louis Chess Club. I'm here to tell everyone about a golden opportunity that we have right now. We're selling golden tickets for $50 a piece. It's a 50-50 raffle. $5,000 will go to the Scholastic Chess Initiative for the St. Louis Chess Club, and $5,000 will go to a lucky winner. We're only selling 200 of these, and we've already sold many to grandmasters and all of our commentary team as well. So if you're interested, please call the Chess Club or go to our website on the homepage and buy a golden ticket there. Thank you and good luck.
Hello, we're back, and we're here with the winner of the day. He beat Alexander Fier, Manuel Petrosyan. Good to have you.
Hello.
So, how did this game go for you? Because I thought that it was a kind of even for a while, and then it suddenly turned.
Yes, game. I mean, we both know the theory. I think until when he goes. Okay, bishop g2, castle d4, d6. Knight
Did you
f3,
expect
c5?
c5?
No, I didn't accept c5 immediately, but I think some knight c6, then a6, then something like that.
Something like this.
Yes, knight c6, castle, a6, or rook b8, or even e5.
Yeah.
No.
Or e5.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
It's
the
a
new
big theory.
big theory.
very,
Yes.
very big theory.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more principle, but
Yeah.
okay, c5
Yeah,
also
c5.
is.
So this was the old line, but somehow it's out of fashion right now.
No, I didn't like d5 because it's Benoni with bishop on g2. I think that here black is
Doing okay.
is okay and very easy
Easy play.
play for black. I mean, I didn't like this g2 bishop in Benoni system.
So decided to open it up for this bishop.
Yes. Okay, I can castle first. Knight c6, d takes c5, and it's a main line.
Yeah.
It's a main line,
This
or
is the main
d5
line.
here,
Or d5
or
here,
d5 here, then knight a5, and
But this is
knight
kind-
d2, a6, rook b8, b5, and it's another big theory.
Yeah, it's a huge. main line,
Very
yeah.
big theory.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I prefer to play d takes c5. There is, yes, here also theory, but not so many games.
Let me guess the number of games. 20 games for d takes c5 roughly.
Probably more. Probably
Even more?
Yeah, I think more.
Because the more you talk about it, the more I feel that this is so rare.
Yeah, probably 200.
200?
I know.
So takes.
I don't remember.
Okay. takes,
Takes,
but
bishop e3.
yeah,
And
but
now,
this is kind of a finesse to attack first and castle later.
yes, because the idea, if black defends pawn, like knight bd7 or knight a6 or knight fd7,
Okay,
it's all bad. it's everywhere, because then black is passive and can't. Okay, rook d1 or long castle maybe.
Even long castle. Wow.
Even that's the idea. Yeah. And here knight e5 going bishop c5. It's threat.
Yeah.
I mean here.
Yeah,
Probably
even if you go here, I can go and
yes, of course,
this terrible
And
threats.
if white also plays slowly, then black
Like has
no
no real
ideas.
plans.
Yeah, it's very, very bad. But knight c6, he knows this move, and
Yeah.
it's a best move.
Yeah, this
Best
is
move
the
in
typical King's Indian. You sacrifice the
yeah,
pawn for
it's
initiative.
the best way. Yeah.
So takes, bishop e6.
Bishop e6,
d2.
knight d2, knight d7, and I know this also until bishop e3, knight b6, rook c1. It's
Was this still played?
yes.
Okay.
Then takes, and here if I go b3, then he must took on c3, and it's a good move. Takes bishop d5, and now it's equal. f3, okay, rook ac8 or probably a5, a4. The both ideas I think is playable and should be equal. Should be equal.
Maybe
because
I-
my bishop in g2
Yeah,
it's
it's dead.
yes, I never
Totally
can play a4 or open it.
Yeah.
Probably okay, king
Yeah.
f2, but then knight b4
And
can
before,
come.
and I just liquidate everything.
yes, everything is
and it's just
change everything. and
so
it's-
bishop c6 like kind of
Bishop
turns
c6,
into the
yeah.
English type of structure.
Yes, I know until here, but okay, I know that it's equal. But what I can do? I mean,
Yeah.
I prefer to take. He takes b3, and I think yes, bishop c3 is good move. Take
Takes.
bishop d5, and here of course it's equal position.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you do have the freer play. Like you have some targets.
yeah, yes, my idea generally to play somewhere e4, like bishop c5 and e4, but he plays very fast. He plays a5, which is a good move, and it's immediately equalized. And after king f2, a4, take, it's logical moves. He moves bishop c4, yes, bishop b5, rook e3, king f8.
And actually, I was kind of curious. Did at any moment, like did it occur to you that, okay, this is not going to be a win?
Yes,
Did you consider offering a draw or?
No, not offering a
mhm.
draw, but I
But-
still play just the good moves. I mean,
Mhm.
G4, H4,
Okay.
it's,
Mhm.
I think it's good moves,
Mhm.
but okay, it's equal position.
Okay, so you realize that, okay, it's equal,
Equal,
you play
yeah.
and
I tried to do
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
like H4, and my idea was if he even wants to go E5,
Mhm.
I will play G5.
And yeah, just
maybe
to break.
yes, maybe I get some little bit slightly better.
So like if E5,
structure,
G5,
yes, and
then
I
there's
think its
some
structure is better for me.
yeah, and I mean you're the only one who's playing for a win
Yes,
here.
Yes, here is
So,
little bit.
yeah, there's some
not,
pressure
Not
here,
comfortable
yeah.
for
So
me.
rook A7,
Rook
rook
E7,
E4.
yeah, rook
Was
E4.
he really playing very fast here at this moment?
Yes, he think I think 1-2 minutes.
Oh, 1-2 minutes. Mhm.
For move, but I think it's okay.
Yeah.
He just blunder
Yeah.
my idea and.
Did he consider offering a draw? Or I mean, did he stare at you that, okay, this is equal?
No, I
No.
don't want
Okay.
to offer a draw.
Okay.
If for example, change all rooks here,
Yeah.
okay, I
Yeah.
should offer
Yeah.
a draw.
No, probably he just missed this, right?
Yes.
So
yes. I
probably it
think
had
rook-
nothing to do. Yeah.
Yes, I think rook A7 is
Yeah.
must
Yeah, and after that,
rook A7 and yes,
that.
and I didn't see any ideas.
Yeah.
But probably sometime E4,
Mhm,
but
now?
now my rook is
It's kind
on
of
F4. It's
good stuff.
yes, but yes, it's
Yeah,
equal for
it's
sure.
it's equal, but you can still play it and
Yeah, I can play,
push.
But of course,
But-
no problems for
Yeah.
black.
So rook D5 was played, but after A4,
Yeah.
this
I
trick, and
yeah.
I'm sure, like, was he shocked when he saw
Yes,
A4?
I think it immediately lose for
Yeah,
black.
it's like losing,
Yes, because I get 2 pawns, F6 and G6, and
and everything
have-
is falling.
yes, and
Sure.
I have 2 connected pawns, which okay,
Yeah.
King E1
Yeah.
I played.
So
even I
actually, I'm
can
curious, how did you come up with this move, King E1?
I think about Rook G6, then
Uh-huh.
Rook E7. Probably I can play here E3, but then
Mhm.
he plays Rook F7, and I didn't want to push F4.
Yeah, because then
Because,
this
yes,
bishop at least
yes.
defends stuff, and
Of course,
if
it's
this-
also very good,
Yeah.
but I
but
I
more
didn't-
problems for you technically.
Yes, I didn't like this. I think King E1 more accurately, but okay.
I kind of
Probably
agree.
Rook G6 much
Is also
better.
very good, but
Yes,
I
probably.
think King E1 is kind of nice because you get rid of any
Yes,
counterplay.
yes. It's my idea to not give him a counterplay.
Yeah, bishop B3.
Rook
you took.
G6, Rook C5, Bishop D2. Now my plan was change another rooks and
Mhm.
Bishop endgame. I think it's easy win
Yeah.
because I put
You
my
have
bishop
these-
on C3 even
Mhm.
if he push to
Mhm.
C4.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
just go with pawns
Yes,
because
just
this
with the
H pawn
pawns.
in my
Yeah.
bishop color, and I think I didn't see any chance for
Yeah.
black here.
So Rook B4 was played,
Yes, bishop.
and this is technically winning.
Yes, he can
King
put
F-
bishop F7 and C4
Mhm.
I mean, to defend his pawns, but then I can slowly King F2, E4, King G3, King F4, then bishop F6, and
Yeah, and he's basically just watching you roll
yes,
the pawns.
and his king also very passive.
Yeah.
I didn't see. I not think that
Mhm.
here is counterplay or
Mhm.
chances.
Mhm. Yeah, so bishop A4, King F2. Rook
Then,
E5.
yes,
So
I
you
see that
decided-
immediately I won
Mhm.
a pawn. Then
Mhm.
that's why I play Rook E7, Rook E5.
Mhm.
Of
So-
course, I can play E3, King G3
Mhm.
like this, but I calculate that immediately.
that this is
I,
winning. Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
I won another pawn.
Mhm. And so why not take the pawn that is
Yes,
there?
because if I take C5 pawn, it's
Mhm.
okay. It's time to resign.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Yes, and
You just took all the pawns
yes, and
and,
one more King E1,
and then just the pawn is promoting eventually. And now you'll exchange the rooks and this pawn is queening.
yes, of course.
So a very nice game. I mean,
you.
there
Mm,
was some
no,
tension in the middle game and it was kind of
It's-
balanced,
It's
but
not
I mean,
clear game.
Yeah.
I mean, he blundered very big move. I mean, a4 and you have completely losing position.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe I'm just little bit lucky, but I try.
Luck
to
is
do
part of the
something.
game.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you, we all know that you're the second of Lev Naronya,
Yes.
or it's fairly well known at least. And wanted to ask, does that give you confidence in this tournament that
Yes.
you have someone, such a legend, to work with?
Of course, it helps it to work with Levon, to help him. Even it's, I get many things from him. I learn, and I think it's very good for me, and I can try what I learn from Levon in my games. I mean, it's.
Yeah, actually, I kind of felt that
Yes.
this bishop e3 move was already a finesse and something very Levinesque. Of, okay, I'm not doing exactly what you're used to. It's something that you've seen 100 times before, but not 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So, like, very specific, some
Yes,
sneaky opening idea.
Yes, but I try to play something. I mean, something, some move which where is not so big theory, but I'm not lucky. He knows the best way
Yeah.
and equalize
Yeah, what to do.
immediately. Yes,
Yeah.
and I think okay, if draw.
Yeah.
In what I can do, he knows. This.
Yeah. So, anyways, what do
I
you
try to
yeah,
surprise,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not working.
Yeah. So, anyways, what do you expect in this tournament?
Yes, I expect to play some good games. I mean, I'm a little bit tired because I play 2 more tournaments before my visit in USA. Then I help to Levon. But now I think it's a very good tournament. It's round robin, and all my opponents are grandmasters, and I can play very interesting games, I think.
All right. So, thank you for joining us,
Thank you.
and hope all the best for the next game.
Thank you.
Yep. So we have 4 games left, and we're going to take a look at the Amman Hambleton game that we left off. And it seems that Hambleton is in trouble, as this king is cornered. Rook a8 is like a big threat, and if Jack manages to get both the rook and the bishop coordinated somehow just to attack that g8 square, then Shtembuliak will be winning. On the other hand, at the moment, Amman still has a firm control over g8 square, so there's no immediate win for Jack.
Oh, very interesting position. And big thank you to Manuel and Ray for giving those very interesting interviews.
Yes.
That's a huge win for Manuel
Yes.
coming out of this first round. So it'll be interesting to see how he follows that up tomorrow.
Yes.
So what's your opinion here? You were saying it looks interesting, but can White win this?
Exactly. I have a feeling that eventually White might need to start rolling this pawn, but that will entail some danger for his own king as well.
Exactly. The Queen Knight combination,
Yes,
of course.
the
can
Queen
be
Knight combination
very
can
dangerous.
become deadly. On the other hand, that's not really going to happen because this knight has to guard this g8 square forever.
Exactly.
It's going to be checkmate. So I would assume that Shtembuliak is probably going to win this game because Black is totally tied up.
Right.
It's very hard to move.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But
So
what's your
that's-
winning method? How are you actually going to break through here? For example, with Black, maybe I will just play I will play this move Queen G8 that you suggested.
Queen g8?
Yeah.
So it does. I could bring my bishop to b2 as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I can start. Let's take a look if I start pushing. Because if I can just push it all up there, it should
Right.
be an easy win.
I see your point, but now I wanted to play something like Queen C8, for example.
Queen C8.
Just trying to eye these light squares, this
Yes.
diagonal in front of your
Yes.
king.
Probably that's kind of helping me because I can go rook c5 and the bishop f5 maybe. On the other hand, if rook c5, maybe queen a8, and that hits my bishop and the pawn.
Yeah, I just want to find some way to get to this diagonal.
Uh-huh.
B7 is really the square that I'm aiming for at
Uh-huh.
the moment.
So maybe I should go rook a7 and just take that square
Yeah,
from
that
you.
seems totally fine. But now I wanted to play this move Queen C6. This was my idea. I'm
And
eyeing
now
all
rook
of these squares.
e7. So I'm just giving you notice that I'm going to go to e8
Okay.
and probably get my bishop here.
Now I think I have to pass. I'll play King G8.
King g8. Okay. So I think it's time for this bishop to go to b2.
Okay, maybe I can play King F8 here.
King f8. This is starting to grow on me because you can't even take with the queen because rook f7.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
But why would I want to exchange off my bishop there?
Yeah, I fully understand. But
That's it. Rook f7.
what do you do instead? Yeah, just King G8.
King
I'm
g8.
happy to sit.
You're happy to sit. Oh, maybe I can go here. Yes, and I hear that we're going to have Vasif with an
Yeah.
interview.
Absolutely. Really quickly here,
Yeah.
can I take on E4? Is
Then
it
this
too
pawn
much?
is dropping.
King F8?
Oh.
I wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely an interesting position here.
Yeah.
But I do want to get Vasif in here
Yes.
while we still have
Yes.
a chance for him.
Yes.
So once again, I will step out and we will let him get switched in while you continue to look at some interesting
Okay.
games.
Yep, so we're going to have Vasif shortly. And even though Shtembuliak is dominating, it looks more complicated to win it than I first thought. And I think this game where Vasif won is very interesting, especially in the opening. There were some moves by White that kind of surprised me. If you're a Grunfeld player, you might not be that surprised. But if you're new to the Grunfeld, some of the moves by Vasif might surprise you. And so just a quick rundown. So it's interesting that Smirin went c5 here. I kind of expected d5 to happen, probably Smirin too. And knowing the Israeli player, I'm sure he was ready to play some double-edged positions. And as actually Manuel Petrosyan said earlier, that when White has a bishop on g2, it's not that bad for Black to play a Benoni structure. So here we have Vasif. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
Can you get us through your game and show what happened?
Yeah, so
Interesting opening choice.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't expecting him to play this line, but luckily, like a week before the tournament, I met with an Azerbaijani player, who's my friend. I don't want to name him. He's playing in World Cup. Maybe he will use this variation against his opponent or something. So actually, he showed me this idea. Go ahead.
Forward,
yeah. Here, this B4 idea he showed
yes.
me. Yeah, which.
Yeah, I've seen. Basically, what's interesting in this position, this is a reverse Grunfeld.
Kind of.
And they usually go this way.
So yeah, people used to play something like I don't know, bishop f4, knight d2 slowly, but I don't remember who played with White, but b4 was played against Dubov, and I mean, White was another Russian grandmaster. I forgot his name. So he played b4, and after knight takes b4, knight takes d4, castle, bishop e3, knight g4, knight c3, knight e3, f takes e3, and this is a very interesting position. I mean, objectively it should be somehow equal, but I prefer White. So I was aiming for this position, but Smirin played bishop b4.
Was he surprised with b4?
I think he did not expect the move, and maybe he didn't know at all. I did not ask him though.
Did he think a lot?
He thought at least 8 minutes before taking bishop takes b4. So bishop b4, knight d4. The principal line I was thinking would be knight takes d4, queen a4. No, bishop d7.
Bishop d7.
Queen b4, knight c2, queen c3, knight a1, and here something like rook e1, bishop e6, and bishop a3. So, but I couldn't remember my preparation, so I did not check. So I was going to think during the game how to continue, but I think White has enough compensation.
Yeah, this king is kind of stuck here.
Yeah, but Smirin told me he didn't go this variation because of not queen c3, but queen takes b7. Or queen b7, rook b8, queen a7, castle, bishop f4, and here black cannot take a1 because of queen b8, bishop b8, and at the end there is a move knight a3.
And because of this mighty bishop, this rook can't
there is
attack.
no rook a8.
And this knight is trapped.
And
if you go there, I take you.
And White has advantage, but I think there is instead of knight takes a1, black could play rook c8, and it seems like black is okay, maybe even better, slightly.
Yeah, it's interesting that sometimes because of these misplaced pieces, black has good play, even if there's two pieces for the rook.
Yeah. But the main line would have been this exchange sacrifice.
Yeah, the queen c3 one.
Queen c3.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting game if he played. Anyway, the game was interesting.
Yeah, the game was interesting.
So he played bishop b4, knight d4, castle, knight c6.
c6.
And if he didn't take queen d1, if black took b takes c6, then I think I had an interesting opportunity to play queen a4.
Double attacking.
Yeah, double attack.
And you go queen b6.
Queen b6, maybe I can play something like bishop e3, like bishop c5, take queen c6, and have
So how did you consider this position defendable for Smirin, or you thought that this is just winning for White?
After queen a4, or
let's say this kind of positions where you're up a pawn.
I was thinking that I have good chance to win, but you know, obviously it is not easy.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to the game.
Yeah, queen takes
here, and let's take a look at the last critical moments.
I think instead of bishop h3, maybe bishop e6.
Bishop e6 would have been better
option. So I was thinking to play something like bishop b5. Bishop takes a3, knight a3,
and a6. And I kind of still feel that your pieces are a little passive, and maybe he has some hope.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so this was the game. Let's fast forward.
So I think h5 would have been
the mistake.
A mistake. I don't know.
So here. And I think bishop f3 was the big move. I was considering bishop g2, but
bishop g2 after take and rook a4.
Yeah.
Black is fine.
Yeah, this is just fine. But after bishop f3, you just start rolling the pawn. It's hard to stop it.
I didn't know how you needed to play here.
And after this, basically, it's over. This
Yeah,
pawn
it is
was just
lost.
too strong. So it's a nice first round
Yeah.
win. And,
It was a good start.
yes. Who are you playing next?
I think I'm playing against Akobian.
Akobian. Okay.
I need
All
to-
right. So good luck for that round.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Thanks.
Okay. So let's take a look at the games. Fun Forest drew with Svirts. This was kind of this topical semi-Tarash that happened. Fairly innocuous. Bishop d3, knight c6, bishop c2. It's important to note that you can't castle yet because knight d4 happens and there's no bishop takes h7 tricks. You always have to play e5 so this bishop h7 trick works. So if you want to trick your buddy in blitz, this is a fine little trick.
The classic.
The classic.
Discoveries.
Discoveries are
attacking
the best.
the d4 square.
Yes. So bishop c2 obviously was played, queen a5, and Svirts could go for b6, bishop b7, which would lead to complicated middle games. But instead, he went for this endgame where he's slightly worse because white has this extra pawn but in the center, but it's not a big deal. So bishop d3, b6, king d2, king e3. This is slightly better because white can potentially try to gain space.
Yeah, use that central advantage to attack on the king's
So
side.
knight c6 was played a3, rook d8, rook c3, and too many exchanges happened here. And even though g4 did happen, there's not enough pieces left to win the game.
Right.
Knight d6.
And so this
f5.
one just eventually fizzles out into
It just fizzles out
into
in
a
a
draw.
draw. So
So yeah, an interesting draw there.
yeah, an interesting.
So
draw.
why don't we take a quick look around the tables and
Okay.
see where we are actually standing at
Okay.
the end of our broadcast today.
Okay.
And over in the A group, let's check out what we have. So of course, Ray Robson drew his game
Yes.
against Alexander Bortnyk on the first board. And then what else has happened here? What do we think?
So this was a c3 Sicilian, a quick draw. Let's take a look at the Malkumian Ipatov game.
Sure.
There, Malkumian has a winning position. It was a very interesting game in the beginning. White sacrificed an exchange, and after complication, it turned out to be in Malkumian's favor. Ipatov sacrificed the exchange.
Yeah.
But eventually, Malkumian got into this position, and this should be objectively winning.
Wow, very interesting. Well, why don't we take a quick break here and have another word from Ryan Chester with an exciting offer on the golden tickets.
Hi, my name is Ryan Chester, and I'm the development manager for the St. Louis Chess Club. I'm here to tell everyone about a golden opportunity that we have right now. We're selling golden tickets for $50 a piece. It's a 50-50 raffle. $5,000 will go to the Scholastic Chess Initiative for the St. Louis Chess Club, and $5,000 will go to a lucky winner. We're only selling 200 of these, and we've already sold many to Grandmasters and all of our commentary team as well. So if you're interested, please call the Chess Club or go to our website on the homepage and buy a golden ticket there. Thank you and good luck.
All right, very exciting stuff from Ryan Chester. I know you're going to be purchasing a golden ticket.
Oh,
Dennis.
yes. Oh, yes,
all right,
I
we
will.
shall see. That just about wraps up our show for today. So why don't we take a look at the standings after round one. And over in the A group, Alexander Bortnyk drew his game against Ray. It was that very interesting C3 Sicilian that we heard from Ray about. Alex Ipatov is still playing against Hrant Melkumian, but of course...
But he's probably going to win that rook against bishop endgame.
Yes. So we're expecting a win from Melkumian there. Alexander Linderman did draw his game against Varakobian. Jordan Van Forest drew his game against Daros Svirts, which we took a quick look at. And then lastly, Vasif, who we just heard from, did manage to defeat Ilya Smirin using that strong C-pawn.
Yes. Always use your strong C-pawns.
All right. And in the B group, we have Aveta Gregorian, who is still playing against Steven Zierk. A lot of games still up in the air here. Yasser Quesada Perez playing against Dennis Kadrick.
Actually, Steven Zerk just won his game.
Oh, wow, that's a huge result for Steven.
So
in
lots of
round one.
results in
Yeah,
the B group.
a lot of
already.
decisive games.
Yes.
And Jack Shtembuliak still trying to win that position against Amon Hambleton,
Yes.
of course, where he is actually down a rook and bishop for the queen, but of course, with so much active piece play and play against the black king, it's looking quite nice for him.
Yes.
And then lastly, Aram Hakobian did win against Viktor Michalevsky, and Manuel Petrosyan, who we heard from, won his game against Alexander Fier. And with that in mind, it's looking to be a very interesting tournament already from round one. So many decisive results, no real clear leaders yet, because so many players are winning their games.
And as we heard from both Manuel Petrosyan and Ray Robson, they're ready for combative chess. So the A group is also ready for more combative chess.
Yeah, and if you guys are still interested in following these games, you can definitely still follow along at uschesschamps.com. That's where the games are being broadcast, and you can check them out for yourselves there. But with that in mind, that's all from me and Dennis here today. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, starting at 3:30, for round 2 coverage of the 2019 Fall Chess Classic.
Be there.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.